Hey y'all, I'm just Fearon and I've been sharing my family's real life on a budget for 8 years here online, including my family's journey to becoming 100% debt free. But today I want to talk about sort of that dreaded 5-letter word, taxes. Even though I'm a former accountant in a former life somewhere, I dread taxes. I hate taxes. They are so not fun. But I do have a couple of tips and tricks that make tax time a little bit easier and a little bit helpful, no matter how complicated or simple your tax returns are every single year. And my first tip for you is that at the beginning of every single year, I get out a file folder. I write the current year and taxes on it. And then anytime throughout the year that we have a tax related expense or a tax related document comes in the mail or even online, even if it gets emailed to us, it all goes into this folder right here. This makes come tax time, me being able to gather up all of the supporting documentation that I need to file our taxes. It's all right here. I don't have to go hunt and find it. I don't have to go back in my emails. I don't have to have that dreaded fear of losing an email because that has totally happened to me before. And so this just keeps everything front and center right here. And my husband has access to it. And so he can put his tax related documents in here and I can tally up everything, pay quarterly estimated taxes, all of that jazz based on what we have in here. My next tip for you is to make taxes easy on your accountant. So there's sort of this term that accountants use called the shoebox client. And that is referring to a client who essentially walks into an accountant's office with a shoebox full of receipts, or in this case, a folder full of receipts and just hands it to them and says, here, you sort this out, you figure it out. Your accountant is going to charge you a whole lot more money if you are the one doing that, because you're creating a lot of work on your accountant to have to go through and meticulously line up all of your expenses, line up all of your things, double check it, and then of course do the actual accounting for your taxes, right? So to make your accountant's life easier, to make your life easier if you are the one doing your own taxes, and to hopefully save you some money on your accountant bill if you are paying someone to do your taxes, I highly recommend you get organized. And I created a spreadsheet for my family several years ago, back when my husband and I first got married, that I use for keeping track of all these things. And I actually have it as a free template in Google Sheets. I'm going to walk you through it here in just a second. The link to have access to that template is in the description of this video. So you can click on that and have access to it. However, please keep in mind, it is very important that you make a copy of this Google Sheets document before you put any of your information in it. It is a shared document. So any information you put in there, any changes you make to it, changes the whole template. So make a copy for yourself, and then that one's just yours. You're the only one that has eyes on that one. Okay, so I'm gonna walk you through real quick, just a basic, simple example of how to use this template in order to help make tax time a little bit easier. Okay, guys, so this is the template. Like I said, this is obviously not our personal one, but this is a template. And of course, I have my big warning up here for you to save a copy. And please excuse the background noise. My daughter is currently playing in here with our Barbies, so hopefully it doesn't get too loud. Okay, so the first thing you'll see is that I have name, social security number, and date of birth. This for me has been really helpful only throughout the years because for about a 3-4 year time period, we had to switch accountants like every single year. And then of course we had 3 kids in 3.5 years. And so this made it just simple and easy for me to keep up with everyone's names, their social security numbers, and their date of birth. So the new accountant would have that information because yes, they do need that information. You don't have to put any of your information there, especially if your accountant already knows it, or if you're the one that is actually filing your own taxes. You don't have to worry about that part. That was just more for my own sanity. The next part you'll see here is that we have our 2021 income sources, we have 2021 expenses, and then 2020 IRA or 401k contributions. Now, you see that this is the summary sheet down here. So this is just basically a big snapshot of what your potential 2021 taxes or tax information is going to look like. You are going to kind of need to plug and play here. So obviously we have W-2 here, and you can go here and you can, insert a row above to add in like maybe, your spouse's W-2, your W-2, or if you get W-2s from numerous sources, you can add them in here and it will all tabulate here. You'll also see that I have this 2021 advanced child tax credit payments. I don't know what the IRS is going to do as far as sending a form to you if you are receiving those advanced credits. I don't quite know all the details of what that's going to look like. I don't think a lot of CPAs quite know what that's going to look like yet, but I'm sure they're going to probably send you a tax-related form at the beginning of 2022 to verify your payments. But I would recommend, if you are receiving those advanced child tax credit payments, that you record them. And I will show you where I have a place for you to record them here in just a second. But you will see this here. And I did leave this sort of out of the income, the main income total that's up here, only because, again, I'm not 100% sure how all of this is going to sort of wash out. So I've just left it separate here, but I still wanted it included in this summary sheet because I think it's really important to have those numbers up front and personal. So then that way, when you get your tax-related document, whatever it's going to be from the IRS, you can verify that the payment amount that they say they've paid you is the one that you actually were paid. You'll also see up here for income sources, Schedule Ks. My husband owns his own business. I own my own business as well. So anytime that we get a Schedule K from our businesses, this is where that goes. I have a side hustle line item. So any thing that you sold as a side hustle. I used to walk dogs back when we were paying off debt. And so that was side hustle money. And so this is where it would have been recorded right here. Interest earned right here. I have a sheet down here at the bottom to record your interest earned. And I'm going to go over all these sheets in just a second. Okay, so then right here is the 2021 expenses. You'll see I have various expenses here. Again, you can right click and click, insert a row above, and you can add rows to this to add in other expenses that your family may have that aren't included in here. But for a lot of these expenses, I have these tabs down here at the bottom. So you click on them for, say, medical expenses. So medical and dental expenses up here. This is where you would record the date of the expense, who it was payable to, so the doctor's office, the dental office, the pharmacy, what have you, and then the amount that you paid. You can also record here any premium payments if you're self-employed that you had to make out of your own pocket. You can record those here as well, and it will total up and down here. So I mean, if we have 700, we got 650, and you see down here it is tabulating right here. So this 1350 then comes over here to the summary sheet, and you see right here under medical expenses, it automatically tabulated. So these expenses here, you don't have to actually add them in. They will pull in from the various other places down here. So like interest earned right here, this is where you would record any interest income that you've received on, savings accounts or, dividend payments or anything like that. You can record that here in this column, and it will then come back and populate up here under the income section here. It will populate here. Same with charitable contributions. For us, I put down the organization. I get their federal ID number. All charities will have this, or all tax deductible charities will have a federal ID number. And so I get their federal ID number. I record it here, and I record the total amounts that were given. Oh, and I forgot to change this to 2021, so we'll just do that real fast. So we have, so we donate a lot to Vietnam Veterans of America, as well as Goodwill. We have Goodwill here. If you don't have a Goodwill, or you have some other thrift store that you donate to all the time, just come in here and change this heading. And then I just do kind of like a summary. I put the date, and then I will put, miscellaneous items, household items, clothing items, etc. And then I will record the guesstimate of what I think those items would be able to resell worth. So not what you bought them for, but what they would be worth now. That you donated. And if you need help coming up with that, the Salvation Army actually has a fantastic breakdown on their website. So Google it, Salvation Army. They have a price breakdown of what a lot of the most common household items are typically worth as far as resale in thrift stores go. Okay, and we also have a place for you to record any tuition payments that you've made, whether that's for higher education, that's for your kids' education. And sorry, my kids keep coming in and out of the house. So I also have a place here for your the school tax ID number. Again, if you are paying tuition to a school, you will need to get their school tax ID number in order to claim this tuition. And then the child tax credit advance payments. Again, I don't know what the form is going to be called. I don't exactly know what the whole process is going to be for those that are receiving these child tax credit advance payments. for the 2021 tax year. So I've just created this very roughed in sort of spreadsheet of date and amount. You can go in here and break this out further by kid or however best suits you and your family's need. But this right here will tabulate back over here to our summary spreadsheet. And so you'll be able to have all of your expenses laid out here. So now the mortgage interest paid, you will need to fill this one in yourself. Federal student loan interest paid, again, property tax, you'll need to fill out some of these on your own because there's not a sheet down here for them. But for most of these expenses, especially the ones where you're having to kind of go through and tally them up, it will populate down here. Now, I will say that not everyone is going to need this advance of a spreadsheet. A lot of people just take the standard deduction, so you're not having which means you're not itemizing your taxes. And so some of these things you wouldn't claim, like you wouldn't be able to claim your medical expenses if you're itemizing your taxes. So this might not apply to every single person, but I would encourage you to make sure that you are keeping appropriate and detailed records, accounting records of what you have spent money on in the year and what's tax deductible, what's not tax deductible, and income sources that you need to record. And so like I said, not everyone's going to need this advance of a spreadsheet. It's not going to apply to every single person, but I think that it is worthwhile keeping up with good records. So everything that we keep inside of this folder, we keep it in here typically all year long. I will periodically throughout the year go into our current year tax spreadsheet and I will add the various documents to it. I will scan in the documents and save them into our family drive folder. So then that way, when it comes to time for tax time, I'm not scanning in a bunch of things. I'm not recording a bunch of things. I've got most of it recorded already, but I still keep everything in here. I will just clip together what I've already recorded. I'll put a post-it note on it saying that I recorded it and what day I recorded it. So then that way I'm not getting lost and confused. And again, I know some people are going to be like, wow, this is a lot, but I'm going to tell you as not just as an accountant, but as someone who has waited until literally the last minute to gather up her tax stuff, it is such a pain in the neck. And honestly, I feel like it ends up costing you more money in the long run when it comes to trying to figure out all the things that you need to do as far as your taxes and what you can write off, what you can't. It doesn't matter if you're the one filing your taxes or if you're using a CPA to do it. Save yourself the headache, save yourself the money, and be as organized as absolutely possible that you can be, whether that's you get yourself your file folder and you put your tax information in here, you put your tax expenses in here, your tax documents, all that stuff in here, and you keep it with you all year long. Whether that's you have a spreadsheet like I do or you have something else, I would just encourage you to come up with something that works for you and for your family and that just ensures that come April 15th, you have everything you need. You're not running around like a chicken with its head cut off and trying to find all these different things. I know that's funny. But you don't want to be running around trying to find all these things, stressing out, freaking out because you know there's that one thing that you really, really needed to include with your taxes this year and you don't have it. Just keeping good records is just good for your sanity and good for your wallet. So if you do something unique that helps you stay organized and on top of your taxes every single year, share it in the comment section below so that we can all benefit from the minds of others.